Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to discuss about adding event listeners to HTML elements in React.js, and also I'm going to discuss about how React actually generates the code, and also we are going to discuss about how function components are actually executed. So guys, let's get started. So in our previous video we discussed about alternative of JSX, what we can use, but now we are going to add event listeners to HTML elements in React.js. So if we go on the code, we can see here it's app.js, and I'm going to start working on this student records.js. So here you can see we have a div and then we have show details button. Now I'm going to add one more button which is edit, and on edit click I'm going to change the record of the names, right? So first I'm going to add the button here, and then I will say edit. If I go on the checkout, you can see edit here. So how we can add the event listeners? It's very simple, guys. There are two ways of adding. Actually, you all know that every component, this is a component, complete component. Every component students.js is actually a function in React.js. So I'm going to create function here. You can write function in two ways, like you can write const, name of the function, I will say edit record. And when you write the const, you need to pass is equal to parenthesis and arrow function. This is a way of writing the function for with const. And if you write the same function with, if you need to pass function keyword, you can pass function edit record parenthesis and like this. You do not need to pass this arrow sign. So this is a little difference, but it looks good. So I write this one. Uh, it's up to you, whatever you're going to use. So I will say once I click on this button, I will say alert, edit button clicked, right? So how we can bind this event to our HTML elements? It's very simple. I have previously done it, but I have not explained it how. So you need to write on. So once you write on, you can, if you type C, you can see on, and once you have the capital letter after that, it means that's the event on click. So on user click on click is equal to, in React, we need to pass in the curly braces the name of the function only, not we will pass the parenthesis with that. When we pass the name of the function, it actually points. Once you click on this button, we are going to render this event here, this one, right? So it's get bind. So now if I run this, you will see event button is clicked, right? So how simple it is to add event listeners to HTML. But now what happened on the back end? There's a little difference between the way React writes the code and the way JavaScript writes the code. React is declarative, right? And JavaScript do the work in imperative way. What is the difference between declarative and imperative way? You can find a lot of examples on the Google, but the very simple thing is that in React, the simple thing is that programming is when your code shows what you want to happen, right? Like this, I will show you. Here you are returning JSX and you say div, create the div and create this custom control. And then you say create this custom control, and then you pass the instruction create this. This is only you're showing what you want to happen. You are not doing how you want to do and what you want to happen. And when you work on the JavaScript, you know, you pass the instructions how you want to do. You bind those elements, HTML elements with your other HTML elements, and there is a lot of working. But in declarative, the code is very simple. You need to pass the instruction what you want to happen. So this all happened on the backend. NPX and React libraries are actually transforming the code that browser can understand, and it's very easy. You can see here when we go on the app.js, students custom control, and then we have another student custom control, and then we have another. This is all the instructions and how what we want to happen, but we are not doing how we are going to do it. So this is the great difference between the React and the JavaScript way of writing the code. So now our event is binded. So now I want to change the data. Once I click here, I need to change the name of this record, right? So all I need to do, what I will simply go here and I will say let full name, or you can say write student name is equal to props dot, because we are getting the record from the props. So I will say prop std name. In std name we are getting this, and I will remove this, and I'm going to remove this. This is actually pop up. So I'm going to refresh this, and I do not refresh it, actually by default happens. So once I click here, it says button clicked. If I click on detail, it's showing the name. It means the data is actually bind in this full name, and then it's loading there. So once I click here, I will pass here new record is updated, or I will say new name is updated, right? It make more sense. I will write here now full name, right? So this full name will be updated, and now and we are expecting that in this div we will see the new name, which is my new name is updated. So let's go and click on this. It's showing correct. Name is uh, populated correct. So now if I click on the edit button, you can see here new name is updated. But there is one issue here now. You can see here the name is not updated. If I click OK, the name is not updated. Why? Actually, what happens? This is how React works. I'll explain you how React is working. I updated this record variable let, because let allows us to make the changes, and then we this name full name is updated. It populated the name, but it didn't pass the name in this custom control and in this div here. Why? Actually, what happens? How React is working? I will explain you in detail. First, you go on the index.js. When React loads first time, it bind the app component with this root element, right? So once this root app component is loaded, it will go in app component and it will start loading its HTML control, or JSX, you can say. So once JSX start loading, it what it do, it render this thing, and then it's go in this here students record, and it will go inside this student record, and and it start rendering all the page, and it will first create the div and custom element, and then it will go and create this custom elements, and it will do this. So when first time this page is loading, we get the props, and in the props.std we get the name Amir Parvez here. So it Amir Parvez is saved here, right? So one it loads this, and it executed this all the function, because component is a function. It executed this function completely. So we know that when first the page is loaded, the name is actually saved inside this function, right? So once I click here again on the edit button, it didn't reload the application. React didn't load the application. This is the major issue in the React. But React come up with a great solution for this. This is the way React have actually written for this, because React do not handle all these things directly. React actually introduces a new thing, which is straits, because the issue can be fixed by, if we are going to use the straits in our application, this issue can be fixed. That is why the React is very popular, because of its straits. We can easily manage the data, we can easily modify the data, and we can easily update the data. So as I explained you in detail, how React functions actually executed, or you can say components are actually executed. First, it actually rendered the complete HTML page load, completes the load, and and every component is actually a function. So it executes every function step by step. So once the app.js is completely executed, what happens? I have clicked on the edit button. So once I click on this edit button, it didn't render the complete page. So we couldn't expect that the whatever we make the changes in the prop dot properties of the component, it's going to update this. It updated this, but it didn't render this HTML. This is the issue I have discussed in detail now. So how React functions working? It actually, once we make changes on our HTML, or we work on our HTML events, it didn't actually populate the function or components again. So that is the why when I click on this, it didn't update the name Amar Parvez. So for this, I already told you the solution what React has given us, that are states. That is a special concept, and we are going to discuss in our next videos. So I hope you enjoy the video and you understand how React functions are executing and how we can add the event listeners to our HTML elements in React.js. Thank you very much, guys. Don't